ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Angel's Combat World. This time we're flying solo, but it's all good. We don't need anybody else for now. We're gonna go over a few of the results of the recent MMA and other fight cards, and we're also looking forward to the next fight cards that are coming up this weekend and the weeks ahead. So without further ado, let's start. Before that, let's go straight to our new sponsor, RSBS Distributor. RSBS Distributor is a new company meant specifically for those people that are fond of Puerto Rican cuisine. When we moved from Puerto Rico to the Texas or southern Oklahoma area, it is very hard for us to get all those plates that we used to get back home and that food that we used to get back home in Puerto Rico, like certain veggies and certain treats. Coffee, Puerto Rican coffee is almost impossible to get here, among other things. So our SBS distributors, they are the house of the Puerto Rican products, in Spanish, La Casa del Producto Boricua. They help us out, the Puerto Rican community living in Texas and southern Oklahoma. That way we can feel a little warmer over here. You know, you live far away from home, be the reason, whatever it may, and you really cherish that Puerto Rican cuisine and those food elements in Puerto Rico that you just can't get over here. So our SBS distributors are the people that, without a doubt, help you out in all your food needs if you have a Puerto Rican palate. So call our friends, our SBS distributor, the house of the Puerto Rican products. Fine. Last but not least, JHAC.com, Just Hard Apparel. Have you seen their shirts and their hoodies and their designs? I'm about to get some myself. So just go to JHAC.com, use my code word ANGEL, and also get 10% off your order. But before you do that, you have to just check out their designs and the amount of detail they put into their shirts and their hoodies and all their merchandise. Just go to JHAC.com, use my code word ANGEL, and get 10% off. So without further ado, let's shoot it. Let's go to Angel's Combat World.
Tell everybody in the city, tell everybody in the town that it's about to go down here at Angel's Combat World.
Dice, hey, check, check, 1, 2. Hey, check, check, 1, 2. Hey, check, check, 1, 2. He dice, hey, check, check, 1, 2. Hola, mucho gusto, ¿quién tú eres? Mi nombre es Escochela, que gusto en conocerte. Muchos dicen que estoy loco, que estoy malo de la mente, vivo en una isla.
First, let's take a look at one of the upcoming events, which is UFC Fight Night 156. Their main event will be Liz Carmouche against Valentina Shevchenko, in which it's a rematch, actually. Their first match took place 9 years ago, and Valentina Shevchenko lost by TKO. Liz Carmouche put the beat down on her, and for some it can seem like a strange thing. Obviously, Shevchenko is a little younger and in her MMA career, and Liz is a much more experienced fighter, which is, you know, when a fighter is young like that, when they're coming up, they face someone like Liz Carmouche, that tends to happen. But nonetheless, we know that times have changed, careers have changed, and Valentina Shevchenko is looking like a gangster these days. So I see no problem in Valentina Shevchenko pretty much putting that beat down, giving Liz Carmouche the business next Saturday in Uruguay. In that fight, in that card rather, it's Volkan Ozdemir against Ilir Latifi. Talk about hammers. I don't know what can happen. You can never count Ilir Latifi out because of his style and because he has that power that can pretty much change any circumstance. He can be in some trouble. He can let you know with that strength that things are going to change, and they're going to change quickly. I would go, if I was a betting man, I would bet for Ozdemir just because he's younger and he has the higher ceiling. Ilir Latifi did what he was going to do in his prime. These fights that he's taking right now, you're never too old to become a UFC champion, but it is the light heavyweight division. I don't think Ilir Latifi can become the next number one contender, but it's still a very entertaining fight for sure. I can see Ozdemir even winning by finish, maybe TKO, maybe he can choke him out. But let's just see what happens, because Latifi has that fight changing or fight ending power that not a lot of people have these days. So those are two of the key matchups. Also, Tecia Torres will be in action in the prelims, fighting a strawweight. So, it's always good to see Tecia fight the Tiny Tornado. So let's see how that goes. Also, we're always rooting for her. She has that it factor when it comes to, I don't know, there's something about her, because we've seen her lose, but whenever she comes back, there's something different about Tecia. So let's see what happens. I think Tecia has what it takes. I think she's ranked number 8 in the strawweight division, if I'm correct. So she's sitting pretty at number 8. Let's see what happens after this fight. Also, coming up, allegedly, per Kevin Ioli, that's who I heard it from, Amanda the Real Deal Serrano will fight Heather the Heat Hardy, and oh my goodness, what a fight. Not only for women's boxing, like I said on my post on Facebook, not only for women's boxing, but for the fight game in general. It takes so much for good fights to be made in male boxing. For some reason, we look back and Pacquiao against Mayweather took forever, and it's been like that. Like, who the hell knows what's gonna happen in the heavyweight division? Like, the only two guys that actually stepped up and faced each other was Fury and Deontay Wilder. And we know what happened in the other night. Fury won, but they scored at a draw. I'm so glad that this fight is happening. Allegedly, it's for Hardy's featherweight championship, and that's amazing, because I think Amanda feels really comfortable in that 126, 130 range. That's her spot. So I think we're going to get both of these ladies at their prime still. Both of these ladies at their peak physical condition, at their peak technical prowess. So I'm looking forward to this fight. I don't know when it's going to be, where it's going to be. I know I'm going to be watching it. What could happen? I'm a huge Amanda Serrano fan, so for sure I'm gonna root for Amanda. But to be completely fair, Heather Hardy is just the Heat. That's her nickname, the Heat. She brings that heat day in and day out. How I see this fight playing out, I think Amanda is too much for everybody. Like, I think Amanda is too long, too strong, and her gas tank is always there. And the way she stalks you with her IQ, because she follows you using the ring correctly, and I don't know, I just don't know how to describe Amanda's style. She's so smart, and she just corrals you, and then eventually she'll put you out. But Heather is very, very tough, and Heather is very smart too. For some reason, women's boxing is at this point where ladies have to go out and fight in MMA because women's boxing isn't what it should be. And it breaks my heart, because I would love to see both of them succeed at the highest level of women's boxing. so they don't have to worry about, learning other things and going to the MMA game, which I respect them for doing it. But you start training boxing when you're so young, and that's all you know, and then eventually to move away from that, not because you want to, not because maybe you feel like it's better for you, but because what you thought was better for you, which was boxing, isn't loving you back. You're putting all your love in boxing, but boxing isn't loving you back, and that's something that needs to be fixed. Matter of fact, let's grab these next couple minutes and talk about the state of women's boxing. Can anybody else name 5 big women's boxing cards this year? No. And can we blame the ladies for this? Can we blame the fighters? We can't. It's not their fault. They run like the men in the morning. They wake up early, 3 a.m., 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m., or they do it late at night. They get up and train 2-3 times a day. They live in the weight room. They live in the cardio room. They cut weight like everybody else. And believe it or not, it's harder to cut weight when you're a lady. So why aren't the ladies getting the respect they deserve? I don't know. And we can say that there are more male stars, but the business makes the stars. There are very few people that made themselves. Ali made himself with his, he backed up everything he said in the ring. Floyd made himself because he backed up everything he said in the ring. Pac-Man has a whole country behind him. Those are elite examples of I think, athletes or boxers making themselves, and Conor. But they all had a platform in which they could show not only their talent in the ring, but they could be themselves. Why is this going on in women's boxing? Why isn't it? Why aren't the ladies getting the respect they deserve? Why does an Amanda Serrano, why does a Heather Hardy have to get out of boxing and go and fight, train MMA? Which, again, respect. And it takes a whole nother kind of human to do that, to pick up such a complex sport, get into such a difficult universe that is MMA, in which your fists and your boxing programming isn't enough. It's just 25% or 20% of what you need to be remotely successful or relevant in the MMA game. So I know there are other ladies that have done the same thing, but in my analysis, like, these are the 2 prime examples of boxing women's champion going to MMA because just boxing didn't love them back. Claressa Shields, 2-time Olympian. Unless you're a hardcore fan or a boxer, do you know who Claressa Shields is? You should. You should. Claressa Shields, Amanda Serrano, Heather Heat Hardy. These 3 women are examples. Should be role models for not only young ladies or women in general, for all of us. What Heather Hardy, Amanda Serrano, and Claressa Shields have gone through in the business to be where they are today, most of us wouldn't do it. Most of us wouldn't be willing to go through the grind and put everything aside to dedicate 100% to your craft like they did. And hey, Angel, cry me a river, whatever, I don't care. I believe the women's boxing deserves to be like shoulder to shoulder with men's boxing. What is the difference? What's so different? They're ladies. The strongest people I know in my life are women. My mom, my wife. That's the strongest people I've seen in my life are women. Single mothers, taking care of their kids with 3 jobs, in regular life. But when we look at the state of combat sports in general, besides Ronda Rousey at one point, who else was there? You know who Chris Cyborg is if you're a combat sports fan. But it is wrong what we're doing with Clarissa Shields, Amanda Serrano, Heather Hardy, Katie Taylor, all these girls. All these women. It's wrong. And it needs to be fixed. I don't know who to blame. I don't know if I should blame Lou DiBella or if I should name Eddie Hearn, or I don't know. I don't know if I should blame Top Rank. I don't know. I don't even know if Top Rank has women boxers. I don't know if I should blame Al Heyman. I don't know. I don't know who to blame. But this needs to change. It needs to change quickly. Because it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. Oh, and by the way, I don't know whose idea this is. Oh my goodness. But women's rounds in boxing are 2 minutes. Because it's impossible for a woman to fight 3 minutes straight. It doesn't make any sense to me. So who invented this? Who did this? I'm gonna try to look for an answer. If someone has an answer, please comment below, because it doesn't make any sense to me. Who said that women's boxing had to be 2 minutes per round? And who said that championship bouts had to be 10 rounds and not 12? Why are we treating our fighters, women fighters, like they are less than the men fighters? Why? Jeez, this doesn't make any sense to me. At least MMA, even though, combat sports in general doesn't have as many female figures as it should, but at least right now, this Fight Night card, UFC Fight Night 156, at least is being headlined by ladies. Liz Carmouche against Valentina Shevchenko. What's wrong with women's boxing? I'll never understand. But it needs to be fixed now, and I hope there's a lot of people that feel the same way I do. And let's try to. I'm going to try to calm down so I don't have a heart attack during the recording of this podcast. But yeah, it needs to be fixed. Please, whoever is in charge of talking some sense into the different regulating bodies and the different athletic commissions, which I know is a pretty difficult thing to do, trying to talk some sense into people that have no sense, like the people that work in the athletic commissions or the different regulating bodies. But let's just try. Let's see what happens. Let's move into something a little more joyful. Let's say. Besides that, apparently Andy Ruiz and AJ, Anthony Joshua, have not gotten together. Like, no one knows what's gonna happen. Like Andy Ruiz said he's not going to the UK to fight. Apparently because, was it Dylan White that just popped hot? But in the UK, he beat Oscar Rivas by unanimous decision, and then the UK anti-doping test that was taken 3 days before his fight on July 17th was returned positive for banned substances. I don't think it's a smart idea for Andy Ruiz to go to the UK and fight under the UK's terms, because he's a champion now. I believe Andy has all, it's hard for people to grasp how someone like Anthony Joshua can be so limited in the ring, but comparing him to the elite of the elite, like Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and now Andy Ruiz. But it seems like Andy Ruiz can beat him again. A lot of people are saying that it was a fluke, this, that, and the other. I don't think so. I think Andy Ruiz proved everybody wrong, and he just needed a chance. He just needed one chance. Andy Ruiz was defeated once by Joseph Parker in a travesty of a decision. He went to New Zealand and got robbed in New Zealand, if I'm correct. So he is Andy Ruiz is sitting pretty against Anthony Joshua. I think he beats him again. What does the heavyweight picture look like right now? Because Anthony Joshua, I don't know if he's going to fight Andy or he's going to fight a tune-up fight before fighting Andy. I don't know. But Tyson Fury is set, I think, to fight somebody else, another mid-tier fighter, and then eventually will fight Deontay. Allegedly, Andy Ruiz said that after he fights Joshua, he's going to look towards fighting Tyson. And Deontay Wilder is scheduled to fight Luis Ortiz allegedly in September. Should be in LA, maybe Staples Center or whatever. Wow. Again, Luis Ortiz is one of those guys that he's going to stay relevant at the top of the heavyweight division for a long time, even though he's in his 40s, maybe older. But his craftiness and everything, the way he does things in the ring and the way he moves, because of that beautiful Cuban boxing, I think is always going to give someone like Deontay Wilder trouble. Remember that in their first fight, if Deontay Wilder doesn't rock him, Deontay Wilder was going to lose that fight. It was going to be a unanimous decision victory for Luis Ortiz. But that Deontay Wilder power is always going to be a factor. There's no way you can predict what's going to happen at Deontay Wilder fight except just a sheer destruction from Deontay Wilder to his opponent. But I think every time Deontay Wilder faces someone like Luis Ortiz or Tyson Fury, which are people that are so technical and awkward, he's always going to have some trouble figuring them out. And if you can hold off like Tyson did, and you can keep him at a distance, you can definitely win. Although it's easier said than done, because Tyson Fury fought the perfect fight until he got touched. And even then, he brought the fight to Deontay. It's impossible to stay away from him. He'll catch you eventually. It's just a matter of you'll get up or you won't get up. So let's see what the future holds. It's looking good. Heavyweight boxing is looking good. Andy Ruiz holds all the belts. Tyson Fury is the lineal champion. And then Deontay and Luis Ortiz are looking great. It almost seems like Anthony Joshua is the odd man out. It almost seems like Anthony is just like a third wheel. Like he just doesn't belong there anymore. He's just on the outside looking in. So for now, let's stay vigilant of the heavyweight division, because it keeps changing and it looks good. It looks good. A little bit more boxing. Errol Spence meets Sean Porter, I think September 28th. They will unify their welterweight championships. And in that same card, Anthony Durrell defends his WBC Super Middleweight Championship against David Benavidez. Wow. Errol the Truth Spence, who is the IBF welterweight champion, will meet WBC's welterweight champion Sean Porter in a fight that I think will show us a little bit more of Errol than we've ever seen. Sean Porter is, again, the same way that Luis Ortiz is crafty and awkward. Sean Porter, I've heard some people say dirty. I wouldn't say dirty, but he's uncomfortable, and he can make you work, and he's gonna make you earn a victory. A lot of people were mad when he was awarded the decision against Ugas, Cuban welterweight fighter. It was a tight fight, man, and I believe, I don't know, I think Ugas should have won. I'll revisit it, but for now, I think Errol Spence against Sean Porter is a great fight to show us what Sean Porter is gonna do. We're like 7 weeks away from it, so let's keep an eye on it. If Earl is the star that we're being promised he is, he should handle Sean Porter elegantly. But we know that Sean Porter is so difficult and so hard to deal with that he can beating Earl Spence wouldn't be a surprise. Not to me, anyways. Who is the other man in welterweight that isn't getting the recognition he deserves? It is a lot of people's pound for pound champion, who is Terrence Crawford. And Terrence Crawford has to be looking at this fight like the only big fight that he can get, because right now Pacquiao destroyed any hope of Keith Thurman against Terrence Crawford. And also, the only other relevant people fighting are Earl Spence and Sean Porter in a little over a month and a half. So right now, even though he could be in a lot of people's head and a lot of people's eyes, to me he is. He's up there in the pound for pound list, maybe one or two. I think he's up there 1, 2, or 3 for sure. Right now, he's just not. He doesn't have a fight. Right now, there was an article that came out at Boxing News 24 saying that he wants to fight PBC and top ranked fighters, but the top guys from PBC, like Pac-Man, Earl Spence, Mikey Garcia, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, and Danny Garcia, they're all pretty much committed, if I'm correct. As far as I know, they're all committed, and they're all fighting. If I'm correct, Danny Garcia and Mikey Garcia should be fighting pretty soon. Apparently, it should have been this month in August, but nothing came of it. It says that Mikey Garcia is looking to bounce back from his first pro loss. So it should have been at the Staples Center in August 31st, but has anybody heard anything? I don't know. I haven't heard any of that. I don't think so. Anyways, I think that fight's not gonna happen, and that sucks. It really does. Also, the last subject I want to touch is UFC 241, which should be coming up next weekend. It's gonna be the main event, Daniel Cormier rematch against Stipe Miocic for the heavyweight championship. I just want to talk a little bit about it now, but I'll do a breakdown or a pretty much analysis after this episode. Wow, man, what a fight! I think Stipe could get it. I think Stipe could get it back, but what I see from Daniel is just, I don't know. I think the way Daniel uses his wrestling, which is pretty much muscle reflex now, and combines it with his skill, I think he can be one of the greatest heavyweights of all time when it's all said and done. But Stipe's always there. He's so resilient, and he's always there. Like, he's always, you can, like, the only way you can count him out is just like Daniel did. Just, you have to knock him out. I don't know what's next. If Daniel beats Stipe, would he fight in Ngannou, Francis Ngannou? I don't know, man. There's a lot of money there, but I'll leave this for the next one. I think this is going to be it for now. Thank you guys for allowing me to be here. I want to thank my sponsors again. RSPS Distributor, the house of the Puerto Rican products. These people, like I said, they're amazing. I can't say it enough. The way they've helped thousands of Puerto Ricans in Texas and the southern part of Oklahoma, getting a little taste of home over here, far away from home. That means a lot, more than people can understand. So thank you so much to RSPS Distributors, the house of the Puerto Rican products. Also, thank you so much to JHAEC, Just Heart Apparel. Use my code word ANGEL and get 10% off your order. That's gonna be it. Thank you so much, guys. Like, share, subscribe, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. Thank you. I'm out. I'll see you in the next one.
Esta no es para los traperos ni para los duros del género. Esta es para cualquiera que me dijo que no puedo. Grita si me escucha. Grita si me escucha. Grita si me escucha.